So let me just warm up. So let me just roll the TNT. We got tangents and trivia. It's TNT, baby.
You got any more?
I do. A serious one now.
Okay.
So I remember we were talking about death, obviously related to what I've been through recently, and actually one of my friends had one of his grandparents passed. So I just want to say, like, thoughts are with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about our thoughts on death, but then it was linked to experiences and potential perceptions of what you think happens after. And I think you asked me that, but then I was like, yeah, I've got to go now. So I think we should get into that.
So I know what I think happens. So do you want me to tell you my theory on death?
Mm-hmm.
So bear with me here, but do you know what the drug DMT is?
Yeah.
So DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is a chemical that is found naturally in quite a lot of things, and our brain releases it when we sleep and we dream, and when we die and we see the light. So you can extract it from certain, like, tree bark or whatever, and then smoke it and give yourself this, like, trip, almost like a synthetic dream. And people have said they've seen similar stuff, like seeing the light and stuff. And it's your life flashes before your eyes. You see the light. You have a weird dream that relates to when you dream. It's like something that you've related to that day. So what I'm saying is about spirituality linking into death and stuff. If you genuinely believe strong enough that this higher power exists, and you're going to go to heaven because you genuinely know you've been a good person, or you've hailed enough Marys for your religion to forgive you for whatever you've done.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you genuinely believe you're going to get accepted into your good place after death, you will, because your conscience experiences this fucking trip. So DMT happens in your head, you're dying, your brain releases this drug, and you have this fucking trip, this dream, this vision of whatever's in your head at that current moment, and that's basically going, oh, I'm fucking going to heaven because I'm such a geezer, I'm such a good guy, I've been so good. And the last thing your conscience remembers before your conscience doesn't exist anymore is that flash before your eyes of all the good things that you've done, and that you're a good person, and yeah, your conscience is going to be in a good place before it moves on.
Interesting. Where do you think your conscience moves to?
Nowhere, it stops existing. But do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting.
I just think that if you're a good person, you will end your life thinking you're a good person. If you're an evil cunt, you've killed people or you've done this or that, when that DMT gets released in your head just before you die, the last thing you're going to fucking see is your life flashing before your eyes and all the fucking evil cunty shit that you've done. And I mean, yeah, maybe you relieve your conscience, goes elsewhere, or even if it doesn't, that's at least going to be the last thing that you remember.
Do you know what I find quite interesting as well when you talk about conscience? Because really, our conscience is us, isn't it? You know, when we talk about, like, when I say my body, like when we talk about it within our language, we talk about it as if it's a vessel that we don't own, but we borrow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On my arm, or like, yeah, it's just weird.
My arsehole.
Yeah, you don't say me. I've hurt me. That doesn't work. I've hurt my arm. I've hurt my leg. It's something that you own, but it's very strange. Like, I don't really have too many theories about what happens when you pass. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just don't. I just have this very weird, overwhelming feeling that no one ever leaves. That's what I believe, that no one really ever truly leaves. And I think I always vibe with the whole thought of, like, energy never dies. It just changes. You know, energy doesn't. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't go it doesn't just disappear anywhere. It's just very, very strange to me. But I actually had an experience, an experience that I wanted to link to this, which was actually one of my friends, or best friend's exes at the time, kept saying to me, oh, like, I'm really agitated when I'm around you, and not in like a negative way, but you know, my family has a little bit of a gift, and I was like a bit skeptical because you know it's those guys.
What, she thinks she's a fucking psychic or something?
Yeah, like what's your you had a grandma? Yes, I had a grandma.
Yeah, yeah.
Her name, it began with a A. No, it wasn't that. It was a B. No, it wasn't that. C. Yeah, Clarice. Yeah, it was Clarice. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I thought it was gonna be some madness like that, and I kid you not, I withheld tons of information from her, and was absolutely baffled as to how she knew so much about family. And I'll give you an example. We was there. I said, feel free, go through it. I'm happy to be here. Let's go. And she was like to me, she was describing characteristics of family members to me. Should bear in mind, no one's ever like you. Have you ever met my mum? Have you ever met my grandmother? Have you ever met my auntie? Maybe my uncle? My family often are quite like closed in and very introvert. They don't really mix with a lot of the outsiders. I'm making them sound like they're absolute creatures. They're not. They're cool, but you know, a lot of them either have like health issues, or it's just, for me, like my family dynamic is so weird that I just don't feel to bring people around them. And it's not in like a bad way. It's just, you know, when some people are like, oh my gosh, like you, like even with my ex, she was like, you have to meet my family. That was a big pillar of our relationship. Whereas for me, it could go one of two ways. You could never see my mum, and I couldn't care, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas my mum would like to see these people, and my auntie would like to see these people. Like, for me, it's not. It doesn't scream out to me that I have to introduce them to my family members. But anyway, back to the actual story. She was describing things relevant to people in my family. So my auntie isn't a well woman, and she started to discuss that when she saw a figure, this woman, she was hunched. My auntie has really bad postural problems. Why am I getting loads of pain and sensation in my neck for? I was like, I'm not too sure why, but I think she has arthritis in her spine. She always has severe headaches. She actually has or had tuberculosis, so her breathing was affected. She was like, I really struggle to breathe as this lady. And she started to tell me positions of where they were within the family. So one thing about my auntie is she's always the figurehead. She's the secondary matriarch after my nan. She always, you know, if my uncles had problems, she would face them head on. And she was telling me about the family dynamic of like my uncles and my mum and everyone being, my uncles being behind my auntie and my mother actually being away from the siblings, because my mum was seen as the black sheep of them and almost would make herself a bit of an outcast, as well as the family would, because she was seen as like highly volatile, hard to talk to. And she was like,
when she was saying this, how was she saying this? Because
no, she wasn't like, I sense this.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, did she say all of what you've just said, or did she go, oh, I sense that you're one of the siblings is far away from the others?
No, it wasn't nothing like that. So, because obviously it was like a while ago, like I must have been like 18, 19. Yeah, I'm an old man now. But I tried not to say anything, because I wanted to see how real this was. So you've got to bear in mind, this is me. This isn't her going, oh, this has happened. Yes, that's my auntie. You're just going to my auntie. It wasn't like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, tell me more. Oh, okay, tell me more. And then she'd say something that I was like, I know exactly who that is. That's her. And it's almost as if it was like a police reveal. As soon as I went, that's her, she'd be like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's her. And she went,
right, anyway, wasn't it something begins with H or something? Right?
But obviously she never told me names.
You gullible cunt.
Yeah, she never told me.
I don't know. I think it's all horoscopes bullshit.
But again, it's something where I didn't say anything because I wanted to see what was happening. And for you, because you haven't experienced that, you'll be like, well, that's really, really weird. But just try to bear in mind, like, you know who I am. And you know I wouldn't be like, yeah, this is this.
Yeah, I just think maybe you were a bit younger and stuff like that, and a bit gullible.
Come off of it, mate.
I just think, like, because you could just be like, you could go, oh yeah, I've noticed one of the siblings is far away from the others. That if you said it about me and my sister, it could be because my sister's moved out, or if you say it about my mum's family, because my mum's the only one that's moved away from London. The rest of them live down. So, but if it was the other sibling, you could be like, oh well, he's the one that's done this, or she's the one that's done like she's moved away in another way, not in a physical sense, but in a because she's the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Or
But she didn't know. But what I'm trying to say is like she doesn't know the dynamics of my family, and she was like, whereas I see your uncles and aunties together, she was just like, oh, there's a lady that seems to be just like over there. That's all she said to me. She was like, there's a lady that seems to be over there. So obviously in her head, she was like, there seems to be a lady over there. She's got a bit more of an angrier look to her face. Blah 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 blah. Is this someone that you know? And I was like, it could possibly be my mum. And then she'd go in and start to tell me more about this person, like in terms of like how tall they were, certain characteristics.
She's about.
Yeah, no, she's that height. Yeah, but you know, she started telling me characteristics, what their hair looked like, what. Do you know what I mean? It was just really
She's
weird.
got hair. Yeah, she's got hair. Yeah, she's got hair, and then she's about this tall.
Yeah,
and
so it was cool. It was cool though. So she was very. What I liked about it was very direct. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like, oh, she's roughly about here. She has purple hair, green hair. It was just instantly like.
Can we set up a meeting with me and this person that did this, and we'll get the cameras. Let's do a secret hidden camera thing.
Probably. I'll talk to her. I don't know.
Maybe we could just get her to just do it in front of the cameras with us or something like that. That'd be great.
Mate, I don't know. But all I'm going to say to you is that then the final thing that really kind of spooked me.
Wouldn't it?
That would be tantalising. The final thing that really spooked me when we finished it was shut up. Is she started to tell me about my uncle's friend who passed at a really young age because of he had meningitis. And he died because of like severe headaches and stuff, or that's what he reported. But she said to me, you know, when I see this person here, it's tall, blonde, glasses. No, I said tall, not small. I'm joking.
That was a tall order, sir.
Kid. But she was like tall, blonde, glasses, and she's like, when I think of him, I have really, really bad head pain, and I knew who she was on about. And she went, yep, he's here, okay, and I went, is this everything? Is it wrapped up? And I kid you not, as we said that, she went, yep, we're done. I felt a cold feeling in my hand rush down my arm, through my leg and out my foot, and she felt that. And it was done. And nothing after that. But I just felt that was incredible. I just thought, wow. And I'm not someone who's easily fooled. I'm not easily... It's just, I just found it was just an amazing experience.
I pity the fool. I don't know. I like the fact that you might have, that might be some good content for us, but I like the thing you said about like energy still existing. I do like the thought of energy still existing.
Yeah.
But realistically, I think the way the energy exists is the legacy you leave behind, not the
potentially
not any literal energy.
No, it could, no, but you are right.
It is. You've made ripples. You being about, you talking to people, you touching stuff, moving stuff about. You've changed this earth in one way or another.
Yeah.
Even killing that ant. You know when they travel back in time and they like kill an ant or something like that.
They're like, don't throw that piece of rubbish.
Yeah.
And then they come back into the future and then like it's ruled by.
What would you do if you could go back in time?
It's ruled by Zargon the 8th. No, what? Sorry.
If you could go back in time once and you had like a day.
Yeah.
And then you just have to come back at the end of the day. What would you do?
I think I'd try and I think I would go and see one of the periods of religion. So whether it's go back to a time where you spent like a day with Jesus, for instance, whether it was spending it with the prophet, or maybe even spending it in a time in India, you know, when they used to say that they could see the gods waging war in the sky. I think I'd try and go back to one of those periods of time, or even the building of pyramids. I still want to know how that was done. Yeah, because that's crazy. What would you do?
I think they built sand up around the edge, and then you can lift it up, and then you take the sand away. You know what I'm saying? So imagine the pyramid. By the time they're putting the top brick on, it would have been, the whole thing would have been covered by sand, and then you take straight sand away, and it's left with. Anyway, if I could go back in time, I think I'd go back to that moment in time where the band started, you know, the ones that did that song, so I could be involved in it, you know. Raise a blaze now, numa numa ye.
Would you actually have gone there?
Numa 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 ye.
We got tangents and trivia. We got tangents. Yeah.